Louis City.
Hello, St. Louis City SC fans. We are sorry to let you know that the audio in this episode is going to be solely from the camera, as we had some technical issues with the microphones. We hope that you can forgive this inconvenience, and thanks for listening.
Welcome, First Touch Media fans and St. Louis City fans. We are here talking about our unfortunate loss to Orlando City this past weekend on Saturday. We traveled to Orlando and, didn't get the result that we wanted. What do you guys think about the game?
Yeah, absolutely not. I thought that the boys would be more prepared fitness-wise for this because they obviously went down there early to train down there. And when we went to Orlando pretty recently, that weather was pretty comparable to what we were having in St. Louis recently with the humidity and stuff. It was kind of wild. So I was hoping that they would come out with some fire. It looked a bit tame, if I'm being honest, on the attacking end.
I probably have to agree with you. I think this is a formation that we've played before, 4-2, 4-1-2-1-2. And I think that while you can look at this result, I think there's a lot of bonus points we can take out of it. And we'll get into it later in the game because I think the second half of this game has the biggest weight in terms of what we get to look forward to. But yeah, a disappointing result, especially when it feels like we probably could have walked away with a point.
Yeah, I think we played well enough. I mean, it was definitely a super tight affair.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell from the scoreline 2-1. Sometimes the scoreline is kind of misleading, but I think it's a pretty accurate representation. Orlando, I would maybe argue, is the better team of this game. But that's not, I think St. Louis City still looked good. We still were able to beat their, first wave of press. We were able to get into their attacking third. But, when it kind of got into the final product, I think is where we were kind of lacking, unfortunately.
I will also say that anytime, and not to construe this as any kind of super mean slander, but anytime I see Jake Nervinsky in the lineup, and it does make a lot of sense with Blom out with yellow card accumulation, the only other player that we've seen, I won't even say succeed, but at least play the 6 is Akil Watts.
Yeah, while we're talking about lineup changes, we saw Nielsen come in and play his first game.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked pretty solid. Obviously, it sucks to lose his first start, but it's something that we can look forward to. I was intrigued that he started the game with Yarrow. I thought that I didn't know exactly what style center back he was going to be. I know we talked a lot on this podcast about the kind of sweeper versus stopper kind of center back duo and dynamic that we have, with Parker being the guy that's always going to step and try and make a challenge, and Yarrow's going to try and read the game. I thought it looked pretty good. There were definitely times where they both got caught coming out to the ball, and then something got slipped in behind because Nowinski or Hebert was playing somebody on side. Other than that, I would say I didn't love the Adeniran Gio
Combination.
It felt like they were both trying to do a lot of the same thing, get in behind the defense, rather than the dynamic that we've seen between Gio and Klaus.
Yeah. Where
Gio is more playing off of Klaus rather than trying to kind of both do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree, and I do feel for Gioacchini in this game. We'll get to what happened with him later, but just that this is his return match to Orlando. He probably wants to put a good face on in front of the fans who probably thought they were never going to see him ever again. And I thought he did try his hardest, but yeah, I think in the end the Adeniran-Gio combo did not play out.
Yeah, and I thought someone else who didn't really look that good this game was Aziel Jackson. It seemed like he just couldn't connect passes together. He had a couple fouls that I thought were just like kind of silly fouls. Like, why commit that at that time?
He just runs at people. Whenever we are pressing, he just doesn't stop until he either draws a foul on himself or gets the ball back.
And I think that's the same. Well, because Gioa currently leads our team in fouls committed.
Yeah.
And I think I can't tell if Aziel Jackson is picking up on Gio's style of play, where it's just that's his idea of press, is press until you either win the ball back, commit a foul, or they play it past you. I think it's interesting to say the least.
I will say one change to the lineup that I did like was Indiana Vasilev starting. I think that he can control the ball. I think Leuven obviously has the best control of the ball out of any other player on our team. But I think Vasilev is easily number 2, and I think when he's on the field, we can just break the press way better than with any other duo in the midfield. And I think he can pass the ball forward, he can dribble the ball forward. I think that he's really something that we've been missing when you compare it to Stroud getting that starting spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think Vasilev had a great game. I mean, the stats say that he had a pretty good one. He was 26 for 29 on accurate passes, created one chance, blocked a shot. He had 38 touches of the ball. He was 0 for 2 on dribbles, which is something you don't really see from him. A lot of the times you'll see him pick it up in the midfield, turn, see what's around him, and then try and beat a man. And he just wasn't really on that today.
I think we just need to get to the biggest Indy Vasilev chance of the game, and I'll have a lot more to say.
Okay. I'm not going to lie, there wasn't a ton for us in the first half. There were a few chances that kind of warranted, I guess, talking about. There was a Gio chance in the 23rd minute that he ends up putting over the bar. There was 0.15 XG on that chance. And then there was one more.
Inside the box, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He shot that from just right outside the PK area. As well as there was one chance of the game that I thought was our most dangerous chance, and it was Akil Watts kind of breaking through the midfield and ending up out on the right wing. And they actually don't even show it in the YouTube highlights of the game, because at the end of the day, Gio doesn't even touch the ball when it gets crossed into him. But I think that chance was our most dangerous opportunity of the game, because he crosses it in and Gio literally just needs to put a foot on it and it's going to be a goal. And it just shows how important it is to get the width from the wingbacks, because Akil Watts is playing out of position and he ends up in the position that he normally plays, making some kind of overlapping run.
Definitely.
And he is our best crosser. I am convinced. He actually needs to play that spot, or we are severely hampered.
No, and he's got enough pace. That's why I will always feel like if Jake Nowitzki's starting, it feels kind of second rate there, because I'm afraid of his 1v1 defending, and I'm afraid of him playing defense as a whole. But Akil Watts kind of is a more complete package in that, he can play this midfield, but in that chance, his early crosses as well as just time stuff being available out there on the width is why I think he's won his spot over Jake Nowitzki.
And honestly, I think he is the natural replacement for Blom. If he does have to miss a game for yellow card accumulation in this case.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with you. I think Akil Watts, if he starts at right back and Blom is playing that center defensive mid role, I think this is honestly our strongest lineup, assuming, maybe if Klaus was in for a Deneron, I think that would be our strongest lineup.
No, I agree.
Maybe, something could be said for Tim Parker over Yarrow or Nielsen. Yeah. But I thought Nielsen looked really good.
I would expect Parker and Nielsen whenever he returns.
I really, really liked Nielsen's performance.
Because that with all his European experience, he's going to be able to sit back while Tim Parker can go make those crunching challenges.
Yeah.
Even Yarrow has done such a great job of it so far for his appearances for the club. But that Nielsen is the man for that, and why we brought him in. So I'm very excited for that.
He definitely showed his quality. He was 25 for 27 on accurate passes, 37 touches of the ball, 1 for 2 on accurate long balls, which is not something we can see from Tim Parker whenever he plays.
He tries them.
He tries them.
He tries them.
Sometimes they play out to give him the benefit of the doubt.
But Yarrow is definitely ahead of him in the pecking order of long balls. And then won 3 out of 4 tackles, 5 out of 6 ground duels, only committed 1 foul in the game, recovered the ball 5 times. He had a good performance. He's the only one in our back line with anywhere over a 7 rating for the match, which I think is well-deserved. And he ends up coming off in this game just probably for fitness, because he was out there a long time.
And who came on for him was our new signing, Markinich, right?
Yes.
And I thought he actually looked really good as well. He had a couple crosses that I don't know if he they were technically accurate crosses, but he looked like he could whip a ball in.
Yeah, it was delivery from both sides at that point.
And he actually got so I would say that he got the assist on Alm's goal, but technically in the MLS, since defender got a touch on the ball,
no assist.
He doesn't get the official assist, which is just absolutely heartbreaking.
Wait, really? On that ball he played to Alm?
Yeah, since a defender touched the ball, it's not an assist according to that.
Yeah, that is completely an assist. It's so. Well, I think we can wait to get to that chance because before even that substitution's made, we sub on our new signing Thorensen for Gioacchini at half because Gio did go down with a shoulder injury towards the end of the first half, which was unfortunate. That's like the link-up play that I was the most excited to see was Gio and Klaus reconnecting. It's always been this right here since Klaus's injury. It's just
shy
this
guy emoji.
Oh, and Gio has owned it, and that's been his Selly waiting for his return, and for him to go down injured in this game, I think is pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think he was actually hurt in practice. He hurt his shoulder, and then he got fouled or something and re-aggravated it.
It's so unfortunate.
So yeah, I guess I don't know how serious that's going to be, but if it was kind of like a re-aggravation, that makes me kind of think maybe it'll be more serious than it could have been.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into the second half, we sub on Thorensen, and 3 minutes later, Facundo Torres scores a goal for Orlando City to put them up 1-0. It was a well-taken goal. There was like 2 backheel passes and kind of just constantly faking a shot and then dummying a defender basically in the box to end up giving it to him, making a late run, and then he takes a few touches. It's unfortunate for Jake Nowinski. He gets a foot on it, but not a good enough foot, and I think all it did was make it so that Berkey wasn't going to save it because it was deflected.
Yeah.
Ends up with 0.5 XG on the shot. It's placed pretty well in the bottom right-hand corner. I thought it was a well-taken goal. He's probably their best player, so he's shown his class there.
Yep.
Yeah, I have 2 things to say on that. Number one, they definitely were working our defense pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when it was all said and done, all of our defenders were on weird spots in the box. Nielsen and Yarrow were both kind of dragged out of position. Hebert was actually on the goal line next to Berkey, and the shot was right in between both of them. Like you said, Nowinski got a deflection on it, so it was really close. I mean, it was just well worked by Orlando. You got to give them credit on
Well worked, and I do feel like sometimes on defense when those chances are coming, we are kind of just first to challenge, just go out there and check the ball. But when teams, and I think we've seen it with multiple of them, where they'll fake a shot and make the pass to get the next player to check.
Yeah.
And the next St. Louis City player checks, and they keep playing it wide until everybody's checked, and that wide player gets a free ball into wherever they want to put it.
Just keep pulling our defense out.
Yeah, definitely.
Further
I mean, that's the thing, though. If a player can beat multiple defenders by himself, the odds of them scoring is just exponentially higher.
Yep.
So, it is what it is. Good goal to them,
At
Good
home,
job.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We move.
We do move. Moving straight into a Leuven free kick. He had a few of these during the game. The one that was the most dangerous was this one because he actually put it on target. It's in the 57th minute. He's probably 40 yards out. If I'm being honest, he's just hitting it to hit it.
Low chance effort.
Very low chance effort. But you like to see him hit him. He did have an opportunity near the end of the game, I believe, to take another free kick and almost put it on. And he just bent it a little too far wide. But hoping for some more magic like he had in that.
I'm not having anybody else take our free kicks.
I'm not either.
Maybe Indy if it's on that right side, but other than that, yeah, Leuven is the man.
Yeah, absolutely. The 74th minute is when he has that free kick chance. And then 78th minute, Marknich has just come into the game, and one of his first touches of the ball is it's just pinging around in the area, and he tries to play a ball into, I think it's a Denoren at that point, or maybe it's Klaus. I think it is Klaus at that point. He had finally come into.
Well,
the
yeah.
game.
Well, we gotta note the sub. We gotta note the sub, no doubt.
Yeah, I went to the Amsterdam with my dad and brother, and 30 minutes into the game, they showed him on the bench, and he wasn't even doing anything. He was picking at his jersey or something, and the whole place just went fucking nuts.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh god.
We've been missing him, man. It was 4 weeks to 12 weeks. We've been waiting.
It was 2 weeks. It was supposed to be 14-day injury.
We've been waiting for this man to return. So I didn't see like the moment where they captured him. I think what it was an audio cue. The announcer was like, "We've just seen Joe Klaus, start warming up."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here he comes. Because this man is bad. Like, bad in a good way. What was his... Because he came in with Alm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. He comes in the 78th minute, so literally that minute of that chance for the goal. He comes in right before that with Rasmus Alm. And they're subbing off Adeniran and ACL Jackson.
Yep.
So at that point, the front three is Klaus, Alm, and Thornton kind of looks to be playing that like center attacking mid.
Yeah.
He kind of moved out to the left a few times. I don't know. What do you guys think of Thorison's performance?
First appearance?
Yeah.
I think it was what it was. He probably wasn't expecting to come on at that moment in the game.
Yeah.
He didn't look well prepared to take on players, and I think we just got to give him time, ultimately. I think he didn't have enough to really show what he's got. He's not cutting in from that right-hand side where we've seen majority of his highlights. Like, I think it's just a time thing.
Yeah, I think it's we need to put him in the position that he's best in. Like, I don't know why we're buying an out-and-out left winger if we're going to play him at striker.
Okay,
Like, it doesn't really add up to me.
We got to get to the Vasilev chance because that's what I feel like really relates to.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Well, the chance where we score a goal, 79th minute, Markinich finds himself running at a ball that he's kind of like bopped past a couple defenders, going at the byline, keeps the ball in play, and plays it just kind of like dribbling into the near post, and Rasmus Alm sniffs it out, puts it in, off the goalie's arm too.
Yep,
Yeah.
originally called back for being out of bounds.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised that it didn't stand as a disallowed goal. Because when I was watching the replay, like, I can't tell if there's green or not there. It didn't seem like enough to overturn the call. Because usually if it's not that obvious what the actual call is or should be,
The decision on the field should stand.
Yeah, it'll stand.
And it's so unfortunate because it's like, and we'll get to the Orlando winning goal here in a moment, but these in-stadium replays feel so weak at this stadium where it's like these frame by, like, super blurry, like, replays where, like, you just see the only frame is, like, the transition of the ball to his foot, and it's like like it's almost like the ball is being pulled.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're not filming at super high frame rate, and it's obvious.
And it's just such a change from when you're used to watching like the Premier League or like Champions League or like World Cup.
They've got every angle.
Yeah, they literally
ever.
on
60
VAR.
FPS, fucking the whole ordeal.
On VAR, it's like they have a camera in like every 5 feet in the stadium, and they can show you whatever angle you could possibly need to see. And then when you get to the MLS, it's like you have like 3 camera angles.
Dude, they had 2 angles. That was it. I saw 2 angles on TV.
And the first one that they started showing was horrible.
It was so far
You
away.
could
You're
not tell. You had no idea.
in the second level of the stadium, like 150 feet away, looking down onto the box.
And the other one was like on the other side of
the goal line. Yeah.
Like trying to zoom in on the opposite corner flag, basically.
There's no way you can make a decision, and that's why we get to this Markinich penalty, and it's just like, man, did we really feel like we got a good glimpse of what happened? I will say on the Markinich assist, what should have been an assist, but not per MLS rules, I think that like you can see where his foot connects and where like the oval of ball that's been created by like the low frames. You can tell that he kept it in just barely from what I saw.
I'll say I think they made the right call in both VAR checks, unfortunately for us.
I don't know if I totally agree. I think they made the right call with ours.
With the assist.
Yeah. I just think that, so we'll get to it. I mean, in between our goal and their next goal, there's a couple of yellow cards. Nerwinski gets one, and then Markinich gets one for the, I guess, handball in the box. I just don't understand. It's not that I don't understand the rule. I just don't think it's a realistic expectation to hold players to. He's coming out to try and block a shot. Is the expectation that every defender is to have their hands crossed behind their back at all times in the box? Because that's what it feels like nowadays.
I mean,
his arm is not far from his chest.
It's not, but also it's not in his silhouette. You know what I mean? His arm is off his body. It's up by his face. It's away from his head. It hits him in the elbow, and then his
hand hits him in the face.
Yeah, he got a busted lip from it somehow, which I couldn't really.
People were like, his mouth's bleeding. I'm like, yeah, because his hand smacked him in the. He punched himself after he hit the ball.
They had at least one angle that showed
it obviously hits his arm.
Yeah, it hits his arm, and I don't think his arm is close enough to his If your arm is up above your head, I don't think that's a natural position.
Definitely
Even if
not.
you're obviously you gotta move your arms to slide. But it's still a penalty. If someone did that against us, I would be mad if they didn't give a penalty.
Is it a natural position for someone to put their hand down behind themselves
I think
when
that's
they
different.
slide?
I think that's
different. I don't. I think that's the exact same thing.
No, I don't think so. Because if you're putting your hand on the ground to slide and catch yourself on the ground, that's different than putting your hand up away from your body.
But to me, that opportunity is even better for the attacker. If you think about if they're trying to catch themselves behind them, and if they weren't, that pass is getting through, and to give them a clear, okay, well, you were catching your body to stop this pass from coming in.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot worse than, okay, well, if your hand wasn't there, it was gonna smoke you in the face,
right,
and it was gonna be deflected anyways. And from what I saw on the replays, I did not feel like I ever got a good look at it, and I think the referee didn't either, because they send him
long.
They send him to the VAR. He goes and looks at it. He doesn't take long, but halfway between him calling the penalty and looking at the VAR, he stops and he thinks about it for a second, because
he didn't. He's talking on the mic, talking to the VAR guys, I don't know what he's saying. What do you guys think?
Well, right. So I know that they have YouTube videos for a lot of the Prem stuff where you can actually listen to the referees as they talk through VAR calls like that.
Yeah.
Where if it's a red card or something of that nature, they'll talk through it.
I think
a lot
they
of
do it
times
for
with
MLS
penalties.
as well.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen any of the videos.
I think they do, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, the kind of standard that I've seen when it comes to penalties is once they're done actually determining whether or not it's a penalty or not, they'll kind of, as he's running back, decide what kind of card and disciplinary action is going on. So I feel like he was just discussing with the guys is this a red card, yellow card, no card, what are we thinking?
Yeah, his ADHD went off when somebody was talking in his ears, wait a second.
Yeah.
I think you're right, and he was maybe going to recall it in the first, who knows. I just thought it was weird, because I never see that in any VAR reviews around the world.
Really? No.
Well, just where he stopped, it just looked so manufactured, it just looked weird.
Yeah.
Facundo Torres puts it away. It's honestly not a good pen. If Berkey goes the right way, he saves that every single time.
Yeah.
It is
and you know what
the
makes
correct
me
height.
mad?
What grinds your gears?
Facundo Torres has 10 goals. 5 of them are penalties.
Oh, seriously?
Facundo Torres, you mean?
Facundo, yes.
Facundo.
He also has I forget what it was, either 6 assists or something. He takes all the corners, and probably half of those are from corners too. So he gets all this stat padding, and I just don't love it. But,
Corners actually
whatever.
don't pad your stats that much. You know what the success rate of a corner is from time to time?
It's probably 5%.
It's less.
Less than 5?
Yeah, it's less than 5%. Well, I was watching some video about how people always get excited when you get a late corner in a game and you're drawing or losing by 1 or something. The actual possibility of you scoring from that corner is 1 to 2%, somewhere between 1.3 and 1.7% that you're going to actually score the goal.
Not when that crowd is roaring and they're willing it into existence.
You would think so, but
No, I
don't know.
I think that's why Man City does short corners, because the percentage of converted corners off of short corners, I'm pretty sure
It's probably
more
better,
than doubles.
It's like
Which
if you
from
just
2 to 4%, I guess.
If you just keep possession, you're probably more likely to score.
Yeah.
Keep the ball.
Well, we're not on arch rivals, but I would say, wow, look at Jonah using Pep Guardiola as the gold standard. But we're here talking about.
Let's be honest,
He is the gold standard. You know who's not the gold standard of right backs? Jacob Nerwinski gets sent off at the end of this game.
Bing bong. You know what I hated most about this moment? I won't even yeah, we think Jake Nowitzki's second rate. I'm not even going to hold him that hard for this red card because the referee should have called the game after Orlando cleared their last chance. He should have never let them break like that, and to give Jake Nowitzki a red card is just so it's just like middle finger to St. Louis for no apparent reason. It should have been called.
You know what the good news is?
What's the good news?
Akil Watts will be starting this week.
Because Bloom will also be starting.
Well, and that poses the most interesting question. And I don't. Do we feel good about the game?
Oh, I mean, the only thing we didn't talk about was the thing you wanted to talk about.
Ah, you're right. Yeah.
There was a corner right after we had scored our first
goal. 98th minute, I thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was late.
Vasilev just gets a hold of a full volley, and he puts that nasty top spin on it, and it just ends up hitting off the inside of the left post from kind of 20
outside
yards
the box.
out.
Yeah.
No, it was disgusting. It reminded me of the Jake Nerwinski one that happened a few games ago where he almost just bangs it
randomly. But Vasilev's, I feel like, was even crazier because that's off the full volley, off of a deflection, just crazy chance, and he almost squares the game away and takes us out with a point in Orlando. What I will say, and you alluded to it earlier in the episode, was why are we going to sign Thornton and not play him at his preferred left wing position?
Right.
When is Carnell going to open up and say, we're playing fucking 4-3-3. We're playing dynamic attacking play, and the width is coming from wingers because Thornton, and it needs to be Vasilev on the right.
You think?
Oh my gosh, I feel like he would cook so hard. I feel like the problem that we've had with him has been that he's had to play off roles from what he's used to. He doesn't want to play CM. He wants to be a winger. He wants to cook people, take people on 1v1, cut inside on that left, and just curl from that range. And I feel like 4-3-3 with Thornton's arrival, we could have done it with Celio at left wing as well at certain
definitely.
points. But there's an opportunity, I think, to mix it up even more. I mean, we've seen Carnell mixed up constantly.
I think the best 4-3-3 lineup would be, regardless of the defense, it would be Thornton on the left, Klaus up top, Alm on the right, and then I think the midfield three should be Blom as a CDM, and then Leuven and Vasilev as kind of eights.
Yeah.
And Leuven on the left, Vasilev on the right, so they can both kind of cut in and shoot on their preferred foots.
I just feel like in terms of
whatever, man.
In terms of wing play, I feel like I could see Vasilev being even more creative than Alm. I feel like Alm shows pace a lot and does have, he can pick people out when he wants to cross it. I just feel like that wing position, there's no shot Alm is going to cook somebody 1v1, cut inside, and curl back post the way that I feel like Vasilev could at right wing.
Well, is Alm left-footed?
No, he's definitely
I was
right-footed.
about to say, he's right-footed.
I was about to say, I still think he does a really good job as a right winger.
He definitely does.
I think he has the pace to be very effective there. He's probably one of the best crossers on the team, barring Leuven,
Akil Watts, I think, is one of the best
Akil
crossers
Watts,
on the team.
yeah. Vasilev probably has a say. I think Alm, though, as a right-footed right winger, is probably our best right
For 4-3-3, I think, that does make a lot of sense.
I just think his bag isn't deep enough. It's
Indy?
not filled with... No, not Indy. I think
Oh.
Indy would definitely be interesting because I think the best that we've seen from Indy is when he is picking up the ball in space and running at people.
Yep.
And that would obviously facilitate more of just running at a defender.
Yeah.
Alm's bag is just not...
He just has...
It doesn't have
pace.
enough in it.
The pace
Yeah,
bag.
if I'm not going to beat you for pace and cross it in, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm going to pass it back.
Yeah.
I will say, though, in the game versus Austin, Vasilev came on in, 60th, 70th minute, whatever, and I thought he looked really good as, an injection of, fresh legs. When he was pressing, he was fast, he was quick to close out the space. I would like to see him start, but if he has to come on, he's still effective there. So.
I think with Blom's return, we'll probably see him return to the starting
I think
lineup versus Dallas this week.
Yeah.
I think Carnell really has a good problem on his hands. We're starting to show a lot of depth, honestly.
Yeah.
Getting people back from injuries, long-term injuries, Nielsen hasn't played a game.
2-1 in Orlando, truthfully, is not bad. we'll always be able to have the hindsight and say we could have taken a point out of there, but 2-1 in Orlando isn't the worst thing in the world.
I think they have a pretty poor home record, but we have a pretty poor away record, if I'm being honest. I think
they're also like 4 in the last 5. Orlando.
Yeah, no, they're
fourth in the
surging.
East, are they not?
Mm-hmm. They're 4th or 5th in the East. Let me check.
And the East, we already know is crazy stacked, and that's why
5th in the Supporters Shield.
That's why I feel like that wraps up the Orlando game pretty much, and now we get to look to Dallas on Wednesday.
And
yeah,
you're
we need
going
to
to
go,
that game, right?
I am going to
Me
that
too.
game. Yeah. We need to beat these bums.
Okay, so since you guys are both going to the game, you guys need to
Some
anticipate being on the next episode. So
Yeah.
be bold. What are your guys' predictions for Dallas?
Well, I think you were the one that was telling me Jesus Ferreira is ill and he's holding babies, so he's trying to give COVID to some children
Dude,
down in
honestly,
Dallas or something like that. I
He
don't
needs
know.
to be arrested for that.
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
honest.
he's a pirate of the Caribbean as well as a menace to society.
And that's why his goal versus us
Yeah.
in those weird ass 40 minutes in Dallas, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like,
Yeah, that game was just, it doesn't count, honestly. Because
It doesn't mean.
we played, 55 minutes, and then it was rainstorm or thunderstormed out, and we flew back to play 40 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
it's
No,
complete
that game doesn't really
nonsense.
mean anything.
It was a
It's
weird
complete
situation.
nonsense.
Plus, we're coming back home where we just thrashed Austin.
Yeah.
Like, that game could have been 6-0, could have been 4-4. Like, it was a wild game. I thought we controlled it for the most part. I'm just happy to see that our home form is good, because anytime I go to a game, I want to see it win. I think the last time I was at a game, it was Houston 3-0. I think we
okay,
dumpster fire Dynamo.
dumpster fire Dynamo. Yep.
I saw a article on St. Louis Post-Dispatch that said we had 35 goals at home over like 13 games.
Yeah.
Which is like an average of like 2.5 or something. And that's just like very, like, it's a sight for sore eyes. Like, let's just score a bunch of goals on Dallas.
Yeah.
you
And
know
no,
what
it's
I mean?
so true. And they barely skated away against an Austin side who we just absolutely
Yeah.
demoralized. Like they only beat them 1-0, and they didn't have Jesus Ferreira, which is I think probably the biggest note from this game.
Definitely. I mean, we do need a win here. LAFC, 25 games played, 40 points. We're at 44 with the same number of games played. So if we drop points here, we are potentially giving them a gateway into first place in the West, which would mean we are not going to have home field advantage at the end of this season, and we desperately need that.
We
Yep.
really do.
Yeah.
But I will say the only silver lining to the dark cloud of us losing to Orlando is that LAFC and Real Salt Lake both lost, which are second and third in the West.
Not
That's huge.
gaining on us.
Yeah, so our loss really was kind of inconsequential, unless you're considering Supporter Shield, because I'm pretty sure Cincinnati won again.
I think they did too, but-
They're up 10 points on us in that.
I mean, Seattle tied Minnesota, so that also helps us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys have any more to say about the upcoming FC Dallas game? I know that we
I'll just
might have a game post that we're gonna go do something for. 'Cause I don't know if we'll have a podcast in between those
That's
two
what
games.
we were discussing that. Let's operate under the assumption that we're going to do another episode after Dallas for now.
Okay.
We'll save what we've got for that. I'm going to predict 3-0 against Dallas. Let's fucking take it to them. Let's make sure Jesus Ferreira is on the transfer block and maybe might head out of Dallas. Whatever keeps him in Dallas, away from Dallas, just not in St. Louis. I'm
Yeah.
fine with.
Yeah, I think they maybe will score one, but I have faith that we're gonna, maintain our scoring average of 2.5.
Oh, jeez.
So I'll round that up to 3-1 win versus Dallas at home.
Okay. I'll go 2-0, because last time we played them we had some struggles offensively, but I think that we will get the job done. And I don't really think they do a whole lot offensively.
We
that
do have
can trouble
Nielsen
us.
now,
Yeah.
unlike last time.
Yep.
Mhm.
And we don't have to just randomly play 40 minutes of football.
Yeah.
So
It
it's
is
kinda,
such a weird situation.
I literally just scratched that entire Dallas series.
Plus
as a
we
whole.
have Klaus back. We have.
Those are all my positives from this game. Markinich starting, like
It would have been
We
even
have
more
Klaus
positive
coming
if we
back.
won though.
Thorensen starting.
We
I
have
think
Blown back. Akil Watts starting right
Blown
back.
Oh,
Although I will say, Carnell does tend to rotate the squad in the midweek games. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what he does. I'm sure Blum will start because he didn't play.
We're going to see a
Saturday.
Tim Parker, John Bell, Akil Watts, and somebody else backline.
I won't mind it. Truthfully.
Midfield of AZ and
Dude, I saw
whoever.
John Bell on the sideline. I was like, man, I feel bad for him. I kind of forgot that he played for us.
He's good, man. He's looked good in his
He
time
did.
that he's played.
In his like 2 appearances that he had, he
listen,
looked good.
We
in the
have got
LAFC game, he got taken off and we got scored on.
my full belief, and call me a biased fan. I think it's maybe just because I'm from St. Louis. This Dallas game, I don't care. There's a bigger result coming on Saturday. There's a bigger game on Saturday that I think means a lot more.
I think that everything means a lot right now because, honestly, when I looked at the kind of end of the season, all the fixtures that we have remaining, I see like 8 games that we should probably win, 2 or 3 that are kind of rocky in terms of a result. This Orlando game was one of them, and we lost. I thought we could get a draw from this one, but we still have to go play LA in our home ground,
Yeah.
which hopefully we can get a win there, but that's a tough game no matter what, and you don't know if,
LAFC or Galaxy?
LAFC.
It looks like we're also playing LA Galaxy in 2 weeks or
In
1.5
Correct.
weeks. in
We got a
LA.
Houston game, we should win that, but September 20th, LAFC is who we're playing, and
That looks like it's a home game.
it is a home game.
Yeah,
we already
because we
went
played
played
in-
in LA.
And that game, I've said it multiple times throughout this season, is like, that game I chalk up to Carnell just not throwing the strongest lineup forward. And I think that if we,
game, I think I repressed it from my memory.
it's probably a good call because we didn't play a lot of talent out there, yeah. But all goals were scored past the 70th minute, so you can't really be that upset.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much all we've got here for On Soul of the City this week. Maybe potentially expect another episode previewing our, what I would say are probably our rivals in the MLS.
Yeah,
This Saturday. And a lot of content on the way. You guys know how we do.
Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Helps promote all of our content. Check out our interview videos. And I think we're going to be, follow us on all of our socials. I think we're going to be doing something pretty special this weekend. So stay tuned for all of the content coming your way.
Bing bong.
Thank you for watching this episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media and Anchor FM. Make sure to check us out on YouTube at First Touch Media, and all of our socials are at First Touch 314. Thank you for watching.